She was laughed at for carrying Supreme Court opinions through a greasy drive-thru, then walked back years later in a black robe. In Florida's mosquito-soaked Yulee backroads, Lila Mercado grew up where citrus dust clung to skin harder than hope. Her mother rode dawn trucks into orange groves, fingers stained green and gold, while Lila learned arithmetic by counting crates. 10 cents a crate taught her something school never posted on bulletin boards. Effort can be measured, but value is often mispriced. At the fast food window, other teenagers stuffed their backpacks with lip gloss, folded notes, and paperback romances with bent pink covers. Lila carried dog-eared Supreme Court opinions, heavy as bricks, wrapped in a grocery bag to protect them from fryer grease. When coworkers smirked at those thick pages, she felt the burn rise in her throat, hotter than the French fry baskets. She did not waste energy defending her dream to people who had already priced her future by her name tag. Instead, she memorized one rule that changed everything. Let ridicule become evidence, not a verdict. After closing shifts, she dragged home discarded produce boxes and spread them across a wobbling kitchen table under a yellow bulb. The cardboard smelled like tomatoes and bleach, and the glue from old labels turned tacky under her fingertips. On those boxes, she traced case names and legal principles in the sticky borders left behind by tomato label glue. She copied each ruling until the words stopped looking like a private language built to keep people like her outside. At midnight, when her mother staggered in with sore wrists and swollen ankles, Lila translated legal vocabulary into Spanish beside cold beans. She turned terms like jurisdiction, due process, and precedent into kitchen table language her exhausted mother could actually hold. By teaching those words aloud, Lila discovered a strategy powerful enough for anyone chasing something intimidating. If you can explain it simply, you own it. Their trailer walls sweated in summer heat, but those midnight lessons built a courtroom inside a room no one respected. Money failed often, and landlords circled harder than vultures, posting notices that made every shelf and blanket feel temporary. Eviction taught Lila another brutal lesson. When life keeps moving your ground, your system must fit inside your hands. So she made a portable school from a backpack, index cards, and folded box scraps packed between work aprons and bus tokens. Her study plan did not depend on peace, privacy, or perfect timing, because people in survival mode rarely get any. Before sunrise, she used the Rooster Crow bus schedule, the one workers trusted more than printed timetables, to reach town. The public library had a heat-damaged microfiche room where old machines hummed like they were also struggling to stay alive. Most people avoided that stale little cave, but Lila treated it like a secret laboratory for rebuilding her future. She squinted through warped legal archives, copied names of judges, and mapped their paths as if collecting proof that a road existed. When a scholarship finally appeared, it glowed like rescue, then collapsed under paperwork, delays, and the kind of administrative cruelty poverty knows well. Losing it felt like watching a bridge crack while standing halfway across, with everyone behind you expecting a miracle. She grieved for one night, then built another route by stacking small things: extra shifts, borrowed books, community classes, relentless applications. That is the strategy most people overlook because it looks unimpressive at first. Replace one broken ladder with 10 sturdy steps. In classrooms, she arrived smelling faintly of fryer oil and field dust, carrying work-calloused hands into rooms polished by privilege. Some students had attorneys for parents and shelves of matching law books, while Lila had memory sharpened by necessity. She read cases on buses, on milk crates, in laundromats, and under courthouse trees while her clothes spun nearby. She learned to attack confusion with a pencil, circling every unknown word until the page surrendered its meaning. That is actionable grit. Never skim what scares you, pin it down, define it, and return until it loses its teeth. During one brutal exam, harvest trucks rattled past the courthouse window, shaking the glass like the old fields were calling her backward. Her stomach twisted with hunger and nerves, and every rumble sounded like the life she was trying not to inherit. But she had trained for chaos long before law school ever tested her, studying through roosters, eviction knocks, and late-night shift burns. She breathed once, anchored her eyes to the page, and treated distraction like weather, not a command. That is another usable lesson. You do not need silence to focus. you need a practiced way back. Years passed, and her notes became sharper, her arguments cleaner, her posture steadier, though the old fear never fully vanished. She did not wait to feel fearless before moving. She learned that courage is often fear carrying groceries, textbooks, and unpaid bills at once. In court internships, she watched power move through rooms in tailored suits and careful language, and she studied both. She noticed that many doors open first for confidence, but stay open only for preparation. So she prepared obsessively, arriving with facts indexed, cases cross-referenced, and questions nobody expected from a farm worker's daughter. The same people who once assumed she could only serve food now watched her dissect arguments with surgical precision. Eventually, appointments and confirmations turned years of invisible labor into official consequence, one signature at a time. Then came the day she returned, not as a spectator, not as a clerk, not as someone asking permission to enter. Lila Mercado walked into federal court in a black robe, carrying the weight of groves, grease, library dust, and cardboard notes. Her mother sat in the gallery with hands once split by citrus stems, now folded tight as if holding every year together. The room that had once felt built for other families now waited for Lila to speak first. When she lifted the gavel, it did not sound like decoration or ceremony or borrowed authority finally arriving. It sounded like the final click of a lock opening after generations stood outside with the right key. That moment did more than crown her success. It changed what every kid from those back roads could imagine touching. Because once one child from the groves reaches the bench, every insult about where you come from starts sounding less like truth and more like fear. Her story is not motivational because she became a judge. It is motivational because she built methods inside hardship that anyone can copy. Use what is already in your hands, even if it is box scraps instead of notebooks, and bus schedules instead of convenience. Translate hard ideas into simple language until they belong to you and can no longer intimidate you from a distance. Build systems that survive chaos, because waiting for ideal conditions is just another name for delayed permission. When one plan collapses, do not romanticize the loss. Stack smaller replacements and keep your body moving toward the door. And when the world mocks what you carry, remember Lila in that drive-thru, balancing hot bags and constitutional law. The thing they laughed at may be the very tool that unlocks the room they never imagined you entering. Somewhere tonight, another exhausted kid is studying under bad light, inside a home that does not feel secure, with people doubting the choice. Let Lila's life be your evidence that beginnings can be muddy, noisy, underfunded, and still lead to a bench where history changes hands.